Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and my co-host today is joining me is John Leuenberger. Boy, I tell you, I mean, his dad keeps telling me that, but we're going to recognize him for sure. How you doing, John?
I'm great. How are you, Bruce?
Fantastic. I'm sure that we're supposed to be in a festive kind of an area. I mean, so for the next three shows, we're just going to be basically talking to sort of like bringing 24 in with 25, 2024 to 2025, and so that's what we're going to be doing now. This will be basically the first show of the three series. The first show here, we're going to be talking about something in regards to the 24, well, basically 2024, the end of the year. And so naturally, there's a lot going on from the national standpoint now. The whole idea, every year we go through this whole process of the budget, if you will. Basically, the taxes, the taxpayers basically, now the monies are there and they want to spend the money, and they've got to dedicate those dollars to certain areas, etc. And that's being discussed as we speak. They haven't passed the budget yet. In fact, on the time-based aspect of it, December 20th, they're negotiating that now on December the 20th. Okay, and they've not yet passed that. In fact, they were looking at kind of like the 12 o'clock hour and to basically get to the point where they can say, okay, fine, they got to make a decision one or the other. Then it goes into the next day, and the next day, you never know where it's going on. But that's huge. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to get and then after we get that, we're going to talk about that piece. We're going to come down to the state of Oregon, because that's where we are, so to speak, and we're going to talk about the recent campaigns, if you will, and who's basically going to be representing Oregon in the D.C. area. Okay,
yep.
Got me? And it's kind of interesting. And the largest city, who's here, Portland, Oregon, is going to be very much involved in the politics, because in fact it just so happened that we have also a new labor secretary that President Trump,
President-elect.
Yeah, he's already appointed her, so to speak, and she's going through
the approval, the judiciary. No, not the judiciary. The congressional approval.
Yeah, she hasn't gotten that yet. Totally. Okay, got me. And we're talking about Bremer. First name was it?
Lori Chavez Dreamer.
Lori Chavez. Like a little slow for a minute, but gee, there's so much stuff going on. You sometimes you forget these people. But the bottom line, she went to a campaign, and she lost to the woman. So she was a one-termer. She's a Republican, but she is the labor. Again, as I said before, President-elect Donald Trump appointed her labor secretary. Okay. And that's going to be interesting. So now we've got a congressperson who just got on Barnum, who was very effective in the state legislature. And now will be sitting in that chair, that congressional seat there, and talking about labor. I mean, what a choice, so to speak. Now we've got two women. Barnum is going to be talking to her about what are you going to do for Oregon labor situation. And that's going to be a very interesting piece. And because she happens to be Hispanic, then that whole issue about the illegals is going to be a major issue. That's going to be a major issue. And there's some opportunities there. We're going to talk about that because I do remember Chavez. Remember Chavez is a historical piece. I met him way back when I was in the Marine Corps as a recruiter. I met him, and he was basically the key point provider to folks who were in the agribusiness aspect of it, and basically would bring them, that was a whole piece, if you will, and he was representing them to a certain degree. He was part of the politics of that piece, but they'd bring the entities over here, they'd pick up the crop, get paid, then they go back to Mexico. So that's something that we can talk about, what that's all about, because that's the way it was initially. But at the same time, we've developed in the agribusiness aspect of it, and so consequently, then we got the whole homeless situation, which we can kind of like say, okay, fine, we got homeless over here, so maybe we might be able to talk about getting them into the agribusiness standpoint, that kind of a deal, and get this issue about the whole issue of homelessness, and identifying with reference to the labor force of a respective state. And in our particular state, we're saying, here it is right here. There's an opportunity there. So we're going to talk about that part of it too. That's going to be one of the pieces we're going to talk about. Then we're going to talk about the larger city, which is kind of the living room, and the living room of Oregon, if you will, at Portland, Oregon. And so we're going to talk about that. They've got a new form of government, and this new form of government was presented to the state of Oregon in our last election, and it didn't pass.
Well, the voting scheme didn't pass.
It didn't pass.
No, it didn't at all.
And in all due respect, it didn't pass even during the election, if you understand what I'm saying. There's a lot of issues with that aspect of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to get 3 different entities that we're going to bring up these various issues. And so I would say to those folks in this particular show, be aware of that so that you can look at the next series. This will be the first show. Mm-hmm. This will be the first show, and it'll go from there. So we're going to be talking probably we're going to, this first part, like I said, we're just talking about the information aspect of it, and just kind of in general, and then hopefully the second half hour we're going to be bringing someone else, and then we can start right into the whole issue of the national politics. Big Bob Williams. Bob has been on the show for a number of times, and he's a Democrat, and he was very, very, very active in the unions.
Yep.
He actually worked in the union aspect of it. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of what kind of feelings that he has with reference to that whole mix between the labor secretary and the congressperson who's Bynum, who's now sitting in the seat prior
Yep.
to this. So with that, why don't we talk a little bit about that? What did you think so far about, again, talking about 24 again, right? Got me?
Yep.
2024, we're at the end of the deal. What do you think? Just a feel of, what did you feel, what we've accomplished, what we never got? Well, the biggest thing was the race, the presidential race.
The biggest political thing in this.
Yeah, that was huge.
This year.
That was huge.
Quite big, and it was definitely a game changer, I think.
Oh, it was so huge because here's the situation. Here's a person from New York. This is New York, and
Yes,
there's
sir.
only one New York in this country.
That's correct.
I mean? And here's a guy who was already dabbing in politics by basically supporting them and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
He was a developer, if you will, a developer-builder type deal. Talking about Donald Trump at the time. Donald Trump very much involved in a whole bunch of activity, but he was from New York. He was all in that politics, if you will, and that's a huge piece. And then he just decided to run for office. He didn't have any office. He didn't have anybody at that point in time. But the bottom line is that he ran. Okay. Oh, okay. This is community television. Yeah, we'll just keep him here because he has to cut out on the other side of that deal. Come on, Bob. Come on, Bob. Yeah. Why don't you just
John Leuenberger.
Okay. Tell you what, why don't you guys just switch shares?
He wants you to sit right next to him.
You know, John's gonna be beating on you too. Okay, good. Well, here's Bob. Bob is here with us now. As I just get everybody close to you. There you go, Bob. Good, you got it. And then John is there. He's in the shot. Good. We're in good shape. We're just a little bit more there. Okay, there you go. No, this way, the other way. This way. There you go. Cool. Now, we're in good shape. Now, we're all here. Okay. But we had just kind of like started, basically, we're going to be doing the series thing. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing 3 different shows, aspect of it. And this is the first show. And we started out by basically talking about what those 3 shows are going to look like. Mm-hmm. The first one we're going to be doing a national. We're going to talk about the national perspective. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go right into the state perspective. And then we're going to go right into the city's perspective. Okay. So that's going to be an interesting piece aspect of it. And that should basically transition to 2024 to the start of the 225. Mm-hmm. I mean, and since you're such a key person, I'm glad John is here, but Bob, I want you to know that Bob and I, we've always represented the entities that we've identified with.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes yes and no or whatever, but we always put it on the table and we discuss it. just an open discussion.
Right.
But now we've got John Leuenberger. Remember John? Remember Leuenberger?
He might not
Jim,
remember
Jim.
me.
Remember Jim?
Yeah.
No, but Jim. See, this is his son.
Oh.
Yeah,
This is-
Jim was my father, so I'm
Yes.
his son.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You got
That's
it.
why.
He had a little bit more hair than I did.
And we usually have some good discussion. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Because Jim ran all the time. I mean, Jim ran for office all the time.
Yeah.
I remember that. Was those gold dollars? What he had? He had some dollars that he had. Was those
He
silver dollars?
loved the idea of using precious metals to pay for his.
We had a show on
bids.
that. He threw them on the table. I
he-
tried to
he
get
loved
me
it.
one.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It'd be worth a lot right now.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get those?
No,
part
I
of the
think
deal?
he got enough for putting in his bids, and then that was. He felt very strongly about precious metals
Right,
being used
right.
to pay for.
But he bought those,
he did.
and he sold them. He just got them back. I mean,
He used whatever he needed to when he needed it.
they needed it. Well, I tell you, boy, we should have gotten some of those.
Yeah, back then he was the smart guy.
He was, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Just look at how much it is now.
Oh my God!
yes.
Oh my God! Which is another interesting thing, because they're talking now the whole issue about maybe possibility of having depression, within a year's time, and saying that the dollar is not this. That. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things along that particular line. But realistically, that's not going to change.
Over the next 4 years, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be very, very
Just
crazy.
a bit.
Very, very
Just
crazy.
a little crazy.
Well, let's talk about the national deal. Let's talk about that. We were just getting into the whole idea, the national standpoint, and how Trump is identifying himself at this point in time. But he's president-elect to be, if you will, and we were just kind of like getting a little background on him. This is New York, right? That's a whole different ball game in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he was sitting up in his tower, and he was basically in politics then, but he wasn't elected to any office, not even a dog catcher. And then all of a sudden, he just decided one day, I'm gonna get involved in this thing.
Well, what he found out is that being the boss of a business is a lot different than being the president of a country.
Right.
And that was the one thing that I'd say he found out quickly.
Yeah, but they were good buddies, though. I mean, the unions were that. You're part of that deal. And he was always operating with the unions. Didn't he treat them well or something?
No. And one of the things that he did, and people have a tendency to forget the negative things that he's done, not only to Americans but to foreigners.
Okay.
When he was building one of his hotels,
Casinos, because I remember that one.
and he had all of these foreigners come over, at a cheaper labor rate.
Right.
To build it, and then he didn't pay them.
Okay. But then he went to the union, and they came on. They made a deal,
Yeah, he made a deal, and they came on, but
and he didn't get paid.
Oh no, they got paid.
They got paid.
They got paid.
I thought they got paid.
Well, see, unions are smart enough to know that if you got a track record that says you don't, we say if you want us, you will.
Okay.
And you will do a certain amount ahead of time.
Okay. So there's an alliance there.
Oh,
John?
Prepayment.
That's right.
It's necessary. A little down payment, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good deal. But my point is that he had all those relationships.
Yes.
Okay, and he went to court. That like typically all developers do. I mean, there's no such thing as a clear cut in that business. That's a whole different.
Hey,
ballgame.
that's a dog. What they say, dog eat dog.
Oh, yeah,
Dog eat
big
dog.
time. And I can think about when you think about that whole issue with the union piece and the non-union aspect. The AGC was very political. Associated General Contractors.
Right.
They were huge. In fact, they were the leading force, if you will,
Here,
on that.
especially here in Portland.
In
Oregon, I should say.
In Oregon. And then during that particular era, we had the affirmative action thing.
Right.
That was a very interesting piece aspect of it. But then getting back to, I got to say President Trump now. See,
elected
President-elect Trump.
President-elect.
Oh, I'll take the other way. You
Anything
guys
could
go the other
happen
way.
between now and the 20th.
What do you mean?
I just mean anything could happen.
What, Biden's leaving right now today?
No, somebody might find out that they have a backbone and follow through on some of the things that they say that he has done and been convicted of, and he could end up in jail. He can't be president in jail.
But that's a good point that you make up, though. But the fact of the matter is, he's not sitting in the seat yet.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, they wanted to make sure that they pay those federal employees before Biden leaves.
Right.
And he's saying no.
Well,
Now, what's going to happen with that, Bob?
well, they're changing every day. They're changing their mind.
Okay.
And he's lost a number of Republicans. I didn't bring my list in with me of who, regarding these federal workers.
Okay, but still, they stopped the whole process regardless.
Well,
if you had 5 of them, I think, what is it, 2/3?
Yeah.
There has to be a 2/3 vote of the entire House and the House Senate in order to pass the budget.
It's something like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, but and he got those.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's things are changing in D.C. and people are beginning to realize a lie is a lie, and especially when it touches my pocket.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting back. I'm kind of smiling.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it's going to affect me too in some ways.
Yeah.
But the smile is because of one thing. People are now having what they call it, buyer's remorse.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
They voted for this man because what did he say he was going to do? I'm going to get your prices down on groceries. I'm going to lower interest rates. You're going to live better.
Right.
And he found out you don't have no control over grocery prices, Mr. President.
Really not yet.
How is he going to?
Well, once he sit in the seat,
he still don't.
No, but you said still. Now remember that we're going to be looking at those series now.
Yeah.
Now once he sit in that seat, and I'm saying that in all due respect, there's some major changes right now. I mean, Biden's now basically saying, okay, fine. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go on and what's this basically give these folks who were basically anti-Trump. Calling them names and this, that, and the other. I'm going to give them the immunity deal. And
right, but that don't put nothing in their pocket. I'm talking about Joe Labor and Corrine Labor. They were talking about food prices.
Right.
They were talking about interest rates.
Right.
They were talking about, as they say, pocketbook issues.
Right.
He's finding out that just because the stock market goes up, it don't affect the average person. The average person isn't invested in there. But when you go to the grocery store and that can of coffee that used to cost $9 is now $12,
right.
That's an instant effect on your pocketbook.
That's now.
And he doesn't have the power. I'm gonna say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but he doesn't have the power to tell Safeway, Fred Meyer, Albertsons, any of those food chains, lower your prices.
Okay, like you said, you used the word hope.
Well, I hope he does, but I know I haven't seen it.
Well, but my point, until he's sitting in that seat.
He's been there before, and he's lied to the people before, and now people are
prices were cheaper under his presidency.
What?
Than since over the last 4 years.
Well, of course they were. They were cheaper under the president before him.
That's true. It's
a reciprocal thing. Prices go up. Plain and simple. So every president has had prices go up under him.
Now, what do you contribute that to? Do you contribute that to the increasing deficit that this country is facing? You don't think so?
No, it's called capitalism. Plain and simple, capitalism. And capitalism, what is the idea? The idea is to make money. Mm-hmm. And if people want to make money, and they want to make more than they did the year before, it's a few things that they can do. In major business, lower what you're paying to your employees and increase the prices on your food or of the commodities that you're selling. But that's capitalism.
But the union had a major thing to deal in that situation because they were the ones that basically were raising some of those prices because, i.e., wages.
Well, the number one, from what I'm understanding, the number one cost of increases in food prices and other things is not the sale of an item on the shelf. It's the medical cost for those employees and others.
Who brought those issues up?
What do you mean who brought them up?
About the medical. The unions.
Well, no, before that. I'm not talking about what the unions did in the past. I'm talking about the present. And the present is the unions don't set medical costs. I don't care where you are. There's not one
they
union
don't
in the
say-
country that sets the medical cost. Who sets the medical cost?
Insurance companies.
Insurance companies.
Well, but going along with your capitalism, what you said about capitalism, the insurance companies know they can charge people more money, and they do, and they deny more and more claims, even though people are putting it into their system. That's a broken system.
Okay, and you tell me, how is he going to fix that? If you start messing with those people's money, problems going to
When you say, now, let's define those people. Let's define those.
Business.
No, okay, but let's define those. What are you talking about? Just big business?
big business.
Okay.
Well, the major insurance companies, so United Healthcare, Cigna, Aetna,
Yes.
Blue Cross Blue
Right,
Shield,
right.
they all make billions of dollars on American
And they-
working class people.
Right, and they find ways not to have to pay that money out.
Well,
Very much
and
so.
by denying your claim.
well, but there's something else on the table now. All of a sudden, this recent shooting of in New
That
York.
CEO, the United Healthcare
the
CEO.
United Healthcare, the insurance situation, and
they still haven't found out why.
no.
Well, I think Luigi, I think his name is Luigi, I can't remember what his last name is, but he was very upset about something, obviously. Let me verify.
And it was all about that so-called big business in the insurance industry.
Right.
See? All of the big ones. You know what I'm
So
saying?
now we're gonna go around and killing people.
I don't think that's the answer,
No,
but
that's
something
not the answer. But
something has. So, you know, he did murder him outside of that
He's been
their
making statements.
symposium in New York.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the right way to do it, but also it's been
Well,
shown.
he's accused of it.
He's accused of it. You're correct. Whether or not he's found guilty is up
Right.
to the judge and jury. But you know, they're digging up examples of how the United Healthcare CEO was using AI to deny sick patient claims, which is wrong.
Well, see, one of the things that we have a tendency to do is blame someone. That's the American way now.
Yes,
You
it
know,
is.
is to blame
always
someone.
has been.
And so the question is, this guy, he doesn't sit in a vacuum and come up with ideas of how to take your money. It's a board.
It's a decision by the board.
It's
Correct.
a group. And so we, the American people, have to stop being led, I guess, into these little vacuums of how things are done or why things are done, and not get all the facts, not get some of the facts, because some people out there working off of hearsay.
But that's what I'm hearing he was saying. That was some of his rationale. But they're going through that now. They're finding situations where he had write-ups, if you will, as to why he did this. That's happening right now as we speak. I thought it was kind of interesting. They're getting that info. They're putting all this stuff together. Again, thanks for New York's their whole research piece. They got a major research team.
Hey, that's number one city.
That's a heavy city. So this is going to
One of our biggest.
and I think one of the things that's why we're having this discussion, because I think it's not just about what he did. He's looking at the whole situation.
Oh yeah, who's next?
I think, you know, they're definitely more cost to the people. They're going to step up their security. They're going to, because they all feel threatened at this point, correct? Like they all, you know, if it can happen to one of them, it can happen to more of them. I'm not saying that's the wrong way of going about it.
But
murdering someone based on their decisions, but people need to start holding them accountable. Just like we've talked about holding our city commissioners accountable in the city of Portland, we should be holding those who are supposedly giving us healthy or health care. They need to be held accountable
You
too.
want to hold someone accountable, hold Congress accountable, put them on the system.
Yeah.
Well, they're there. The whole Congress. I mean, the whole deal is there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Congress have their own separate medical system.
They do. They're not treated the same.
Put them on the system that we're on.
They're on the platinum
Now
plan.
let's see how it corrects itself.
Let's quit treating them as if they're in charge.
Yeah.
They're employees.
That's right.
They're employees of the voter.
They telling us what to do instead of us telling them.
Exactly.
And to speak to this, I'm someone who has suffered from chronic illness for over 20 years. I have Crohn's disease. I was diagnosed at 12 years old. And one of the things my mom one of her very angry rants has been about how those who are picking what we're going to be doing don't have the same health care as we do.
Right.
You're 100% right on that.
Right.
Congress, they get to decide how well their coverage is, and the rest of us have to figure it out ourselves. And that's wrong.
Right.
We put them in there to serve us,
Right.
and instead they're making us serve them.
Right.
And you make a good point there. And again, bring it here, just here locally. If you notice that just recently we had a retired congressperson that just retired, Earl DePearl. Earl, right?
Blumenauer.
Earl Blumenauer, and it's kind of interesting because if you can Google it. And that's the other thing about folks who are
Hey, it's out there.
That look at. But my point is that here's this guy. He's pocketed $13 million. That's his net worth right now. You just Google it. $13 million. Now, how can a guy? What happened? How did he achieve that money? Well, the stock market is there, and then naturally these folks have access to these folks. You can just sit down in their office there and just keep playing with the stock market. You can call those people on the internet about this, that, and the other. So that's an interesting piece. Let's put it. And I'm not just talking to him per se, but when you look at that number, that really upsets.
You want to become an instant millionaire, get elected.
That's right.
100%. You look at, there's an app, I'm not going to say the app, but there's an app you can download on your phone. You give them money and they will invest the same way that Congress invests.
Yeah, wow.
And more often than not, you get to be ahead of the game on some of these picks because just look at what happened with COVID, right? They all knew something was about to happen. They bid on the right stocks and they made a lot of money.
Yep.
Because they had privileged information that no one else in this country had, and because of that, they traded accordingly.
Right.
That's a broken system.
It's a broken system.
But I know a lady that went to prison because of the same thing.
Yeah, because she had insider. You're right. Well, it's rules for thee, but not for me.
That's it.
Yep.
And if you act on insider information as an American citizen,
you
go to prison because that's not fair.
Yep.
But when our elected officials do it, it's okay for whatever reason. Because they deem it's okay. They've put themselves outside of the reach of the law, and that's just wrong. It's needs to be fixed. But they're not going to do it themselves because they're making cash hand over fist over some of these trades.
Right.
And right from it. And as far as I'm concerned, they should be part of the discussion. I mean, they represent us as employees. Ordinarily, if that happened, let's say locally with just business, you got folks that would represent a person to sue that particular person on something. But nowadays they get free. They freedom.
Oh yeah, they make laws that say you can't sue me.
That's right.
Well, when that
you can't sue the president.
I saw a press clipping from when they first introduced the assault weapons ban in 94, right? 92, 94. At the same time, they made it a capital punishment to try and go to murder or attempt to murder the president, the vice president, anyone in Congress, any Supreme Court judge. It is a capital offense to try and take them out of their position by the means that our founding fathers kind of went about it. They didn't like what was happening. They made changes. But our own government has said, you're not allowed to make those kind of changes with us. We're untouchable.
Right. If I can write the laws for me and you have to abide by them, you're not going to like them. Well, plain and simple, because I'm going to protect me.
They love to protect themselves. One of the things my dad really worked on when he was a criminal defense attorney was working against corrupt cops. It was a problem that we've seen for some time now, and unfortunately judges would more often than not vote in favor or rule in favor of the cops and not the person that that was wrong, which is it doesn't work. When the cops are being held at a higher standard than we are, we're the people. We have the power, don't we?
Right.
Well, it's written that that the people, but it's acted that we don't.
Right.
And the reason it's something that Philip Randolph said years ago.
Okay.
Power is never given, it's extracted. You get what you can take and you keep what you can hold. Can't take nothing, can't get nothing. So they have realized that we're busy trying to make life ends meet.
Right.
They go do what they want to, and they can't, and all of us can't come together because it take a group of us more so than an individual.
A majority.
Yeah.
And so you can't get that group together for a long period of time because
We're all working 9 to 5.
now. Yeah, we're working 9 to 5, and their attitude is we can wait them out. They're not going to be able to do it 90 days. You know, you think about it. If you had something that you needed to take care of with a government official or the police or anyone else, any high-ranking entity, it takes time.
Sure does.
And you don't have the time.
And the money.
No, they wait us out because
Oh, yeah.
we can't not work our 9 to 5.
That's right.
Our labor is important, and we live off of our labor. We only have 2 days a week, Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes people have to work those Saturdays and Sundays. Some people are working 7 days a week just to get by.
Not to get ahead, just to get by.
Okay, as you guys are having this discussion, I'm thinking back with reference to the founding fathers. They knew all of that.
Yeah.
They did.
And so they personalized it to fit their situation at that time. Got me? And under their particular system, we've lived pretty good under that system. Because
Jefferson wanted us all to have 5 acres of land and to live off the land.
That's right. That's right.
Instead of living on top of each other like we do at this point.
That's right. That's right. In fact, one argument that's on the table right now is about the 40 acres and a mule down south. But the fact of the matter is, when Lincoln put that piece together, that was for everybody. Got my point? So, you know, it's kind of interesting. They're just kind of like, they're targeting it for themselves.
Right.
Well, that's not going to happen. Not in today's criteria.
Well, when you can make an argument that says Robert shouldn't get he shouldn't get 40 acres and a mule, he didn't suffer during slavery.
Right.
And then all of a sudden everybody go, you know, he didn't.
Right.
Why is he getting it? Should have been his forefathers, and they're dead, so they can't get it. So we go pass it on to him, and he didn't do any suffering. No, and then we started voting against each other, and that's what they've got us doing is looking at each other, and we're like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah, but it's
Every time one try to get to the top, someone's on the leg.
But guess
pulling
what?
it back.
That's the new form of government that we're living under now. I mean,
The two-party system.
That's right.
Well, I did a speech and I said, here's the way America works. When the South
Today or yesterday? What are you talking
today,
Today, okay.
when the South is coming out of the sorrow, the North is going in, the West is beginning to feel a little of the pressure, and the East is looking at everybody going, because they were the first out, they're going, man, y'all got some work to do. So what you got, North, South, East, and West, is never under the same pressure at the same time.
That's a fact, but that's a fact. but under our form of government, it all you saw the problem. Guess where? D.C.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
I'm
going to drain the swamp,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to become king of the swamp.
Yeah.
Which one?
But when you go down to Washington D.C., you don't have a stopper. Because you're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna lose my piece."
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Once you get elected, you find out that you can't drain the swamp because you're in the swamp.
And you know, it's kind of interesting.
When it starts circling, going down the drain.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in there too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you would think that once a person basically runs for office, and they've got a platform, solid as sand. But then when they get down to D.C., all of a sudden, hey, I can't. Well, I better take this part of money over here. And then once they leave, you would think that, well, okay, fine, now I understand what the problem is. I'm going to go back to my platform, and I'm going to do something about this piece, et cetera, to change. They don't do it. And in fact, a good thing, and all due respect, and I'm not trying to pick up on the guy aspect of it, I'm thinking about Earl, but he's a good example. Because when you think about the drug problem that we're having in the country, it started here. It started with him on basically the pipe thing. Remember that?
Right.
It started right here. okay? And no one said nothing about that piece. You know my point? But see, I'm saying now the reason why I'm using the name is because we got a problem. We got a national problem, and it starts here. Why not start the problems, the solution to the problem, where it started from? And since he's here, and he just picked up another job at about $170,000 at Portland State. They're gonna hire him at Portland State, give him an office, if you will, and and he
Teaching politics.
Yeah, but no. He giving that's just it. He just picks up the money. He's already given him some perks, if you will, when he was elected. So I'm saying. I'm making that point because I'm saying, look, Earl, you need to get back to the table here to solve some of the problems in this state. As far as the drug issue that we're talking about, you need to be the chairperson of that committee, and let's see what we can do about talking about all the issues that are around it.
Well,
see what I'm coming from?
The problem there is that the people continually change in these seats, and when a person gets into the seat that have no idea they have a basic idea of what went on in the past, but they weren't a part of it, then you have a problem. But in Portland, the problem becomes more widespread because everybody looks at one thing: how much is it gonna cost? And when they find out that trying to eliminate this drug problem, it costs a lot of money. And where's the money going to come from?
When you say create a lot of, was it a lot of money? It's going to cost a lot of money. It was a pot placing deal. People were basically smoking pot illegally. Yeah, they've got the freedom now to just be open about it. You know what I mean? I'll be right up front with you. I can still remember the time as a Marine recruiter, and in Northeast Portland, the definition of Northeast Portland, if the folks on the hill would come down and buy the pot and go back home. Yeah. See, but now you don't have to worry about going down and buying the pot in Southeast Portland and Northeast Portland. Hey, you just
not until January 15th.
Yeah, you see
January the 5th or the 15th, where the law is changing. And these people better understand that you know how they were smoking it on the street and everything else.
But who's doing that?
Nobody will be after that.
No, but who's doing that? You follow the person.
The homeless.
Yeah, but follow the entity. It's about the money again.
Yeah.
It's about the almighty dollar aspect of it. You think about all those searches, they're not going to just close up those places. They're going to open them up more.
Well, I mean, once you said you can buy your drugs at the store.
It's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're helping the problem.
Well, that's a fact. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We need to go back to the source to begin with. And I'm saying Earl because he was there. And if he's here, give him something to do.
Well, I just pulled up an article and it says, he's he doesn't plan on teaching.
No.
It says Blumenauer said he does not expect to do much teaching in the traditional sense at PSU. Instead, he hopes to engage with students and community members in more informal settings like seminars and roundtable discussions.
At 170,000.
I don't know what it.
Yeah, he's getting over $100,000.
I mean,
but a guy who picked up $13 million. You would think he would give a donation, if you will. I mean, he donated to someone.
That's not the American
spreading
way.
The wealth. Yeah, that doesn't sound like something that anyone wants to do.
That's the American way. No, you trying to change things.
No, but the bottom line,
better.
It's on my dime now. It's on my dime. I'm paying. I'm picking up the tab.
Well, you've been paying his dime for a while
that's
now.
Right.
That's
the thing. Portland State is my dime. I'm paying for that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
That's right. I'm paying for that, and I'm saying, not on my watch.
I would like to see something actionable, but it sounds like he's going to be advising people. He's going to advise the president of Portland State as well, whatever that means.
Yeah, but I want him to come and advise me about my wallet.
Yeah, I would like to know how he
How about
made
you?
his
Now,
money.
Bobby's a little bit more, he's a more well-to-do person. Yeah. He doesn't need that kind of money.
I'm so poor I can't pay attention.
Oh, boy. We can laugh about that. But in all due respect, I'm reaching out to Earl.
Yeah.
And say, hey, man, Earl, why don't you think about it?
Time to give back, my brother.
Give back some of that stuff. I know he rides his bicycles all over the place, aspect of it. But the fact of the matter is, come on, Earl, you give it up. $13 million bucks. Come on.
Well,
and, he saw the he saw the writing on the wall with the whole issue with how the administration was changing. See, so
Well,
he said, I'm gonna get out of this situation now. I'm gonna give
Well,
it
he
up.
put his time in. I have to say,
no,
he put his time in.
most
And
of
he
the
tried
guys-
to do positive things.
If he didn't have that $13
we're not
million
down. We're not down in Earl because he tried to do positive things.
What do you mean?
Not only
positive
for
thing?
workers,
on the drugs. You imagine
for
that-
government, for workers. He tried to do positive things as far as.
What about the drugs, Bob?
Well, that's one issue.
One
and,
issue,
and
but
he
look at the
wasn't in
impact-
charge of
But
drugs.
look at the impact it had on the minority community, the black community. Those young folks that were basically selling those drugs and using those drugs. Where are they going to go? Look at what's happening now. We still talking about the issue of race.
Well, see,
and racism. And we get
when you
blamed
talk
for all
about
this
drugs
stuff.
in the city of Portland, state of Oregon, the majority of the people selling drugs in this state are not black.
You gotta be kidding me.
No,
Really?
No.
Who are they?
they're white.
Oh,
Let's
really?
be real.
Give me some names.
No, I can't do that. My life is more invaluable to me. But
He wants to stick around for a
Yeah.
little bit
Oh, is that
longer.
okay. Well, see, I want to give them another way. I want to give them a job. We got the labor secretary now, who's basically representing the country.
how do you answer a question for me? Because I'm going, how do you go into a barrel and you start picking people with no knowledge? Or people that doesn't have the. You take a doctor and you make him in charge of housing. You take, you know what you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I
you
do.
take this guy that's been a businessman all his life,
That's
and
right.
you're going to make him in charge of the federal government. I mean,
Government efficiency, Elon
yeah,
Musk. Yeah,
So
well.
so how do you expect efficiency when you're putting round pegs in a square hole?
But now we've got a solution, Bob. You know the difference between a square hole and a round hole. See, so we're sitting up here. We're going to basically, because we're the ones that's paying the bill, we're now going to take control and say, now we're going to control that.
Well,
We're going to put the square hole.
we're going to ask the questions.
No,
we're going to give. I hope our segment for the future is that we're going to make you think.
Okay.
Our goal is to try and make the people that listen think. And don't be afraid to tell us, hey, you're wrong and why.
Right.
Okay.
But don't just say I'm wrong. Tell me why.
Okay.
So I can research it and find out if I'm wrong.
So Bob, in all due respect, because Bob is also paying that bill, this is by his back. And so I'll tell you what we'll do. Bob has said basically to Earl, look here, I'm going to be meeting with you. You guys have a cup of coffee and talk about the whole issue with the drug issue. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And say, look here, we'd like to have you on the show and we start a committee, if you will, and talk
Tell
about
us
how
what you're going to do.
There you go.
That's all.
So Bob, you will contact Earl.
I'll do my best.
I like that. I like that already because Bob he's a point person.
Well, Earl is a friend.
Oh, he's
Earl we have served hamburgers and hot dogs together.
Really?
And I
Really?
can't call him a friend because I have a rule as to who my friends are. And one of the things is my friends are people that have been to my home
Okay.
and I've been to theirs.
Okay.
Then I can call you friend.
Okay.
But if you just know me, that don't mean you're my friend.
So he's
that
been
means
there.
you're
so
an acquaintance.
And you ride a bicycle too. I know that. You got
Yeah.
a bicycle, yeah?
And we've done a number of things together.
Together. Okay, good. No, seriously. I mean, all due respect. But there's an opportunity here.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And then Earl, hopefully he understands. I'm not trying to be anti. We got an issue here that we got to deal with within our communities.
Well,
across the
number
board.
one, somebody needs to talk to your new city council.
Well, that's another segment. That's going to take another hour for us to talk. That's another segment. In fact, that's segment number 3. Mm-hmm. We got a series we're running here, but we're going from a national perspective,
Yeah.
and then I brought the Earl piece up because he was at national, see, and then now he's sitting here in Portland, and hey, he's got a lot of info there, and he still has some power because he's met some people, and so we want to use that piece, and I think we can use that very effectively. So we should have a discussion.
If nothing else, if he wants to be retired, I can fully understand that. But don't take that knowledge you have and store it away with your retirement. Share it with somebody that's in the position to try and do something.
Yeah, give up that.
That's how we get. That's how we get better.
Tell him
An exchange of ideas.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Necessary.
Tell him to give 10 million back to the people.
No, that ain't gonna
And
work.
he can have $2 million. He can live off of $2 million.
No, you
the man
can't.
didn't even ride a car. He's on a bicycle.
All right, I know. We know you're joking, but it's
Well,
You ain't gonna go in there. Tell Trump to give some of his back.
I didn't say nothing about
Which
Trump.
is we talking national.
I don't know Trump.
Tell
I just
Elon
know
Musk
someone,
to give.
I just know someone that knows Earl. He's been to his house, the whole 9 yards. You guys are good buddies. You see?
Well, we've served hamburgers and hot dogs.
Is that what it is?
But you know, and I don't control his bank account. And I definitely don't want him controlling mine.
No, but we put the money in. I mean, we gave him the money. We gave him the money. The people gave him the money. It is a government. It's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Fair?
Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't make $13 million in salary, which we pay. So let's be realistic.
Oh, no.
Let's not do what I call the Trump, which is tell you something that's not true and let you go run with it.
Well, you know, even as a congressperson,
a joke with you about something and to make you think, and then you run with the joke rather than look up the real issue. You know, and the real issue in Portland is we have a problem on the streets and we have a problem with drugs. I've been downtown and seen people fall out. You know, from this.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with all.
And how do we correct this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm thinking that his background and how all this stuff started. Why not take advantage of that?
Right.
John, give me.
One way to stop what's going on is to ask the people who are sending us or giving the idea that Portland is a sanctuary for homeless is to say, hey, we've got enough on our plate. We need other people to step up to the plate and help these people.
Right.
A lot of these people need mental health evaluations.
We closed down the mental health.
Right. So we need to open it back up.
Yeah.
We need to open it back up. Mental health needs to be on the table.
Yeah.
And it's off the table. If we can address the mental health issue, if we can address along with that addiction issues, I think we could clean up a lot of what's going on. But it takes a little bit of investment from the people we're employing.
Exactly,
to do this.
which are the elected officials. See, and I think that's a good point that he makes, because no due respect, he was one of the individuals that basically signed off on all those federal dollars that were coming here to create this, that, and the other. That's a fair. Mm-hmm. He was there. Yeah. So I'm just saying he's got quite a bit of background. See, before he had a platform when he ran for office, this is what I'm going to do. But then when you get down there, you just get totally basically.
Well, what you find
controlled.
out is that you can't be a entity among yourself. You have to get others. Our Congress is set up where people have to come together and agree on things. You as an individual can run on things. But once you get into the building, you have to find out that you got to bring people in to agree with your ideas so you can get legislation passed. And that's hard to do in a country where everybody's looking out for who?
Self.
Number one.
Oh,
you're right. I think people need to kind of put aside their pride and to realize that for the betterment of the city of Portland, the state of Oregon, the country as a whole, we need to put aside our selfish pursuits and pride and realize that we're all here together. We're all living this thing called life at the same time. Why not help bring each other up instead of put each other down?
Exactly.
And this race thing, man, somebody need to come to a realization that every time I talk bad about you, it hurts me. Every time you talk bad about me, it hurts you.
100%.
And I tell my friends, if you talk bad about one of my friends to me, what are you saying to that friend about me?
That's a
or
fact.
somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't trust you. Now we have a divide.
A continuing divide.
Yeah. So we need to stop being prejudiced don't help anyone.
Absolutely not.
It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you anything.
Well, I don't know about that. We don't know. It's about the money.
But being prejudiced doesn't
always comes down to those Benjamins, right? It always comes down to those Benjamins. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out who I know that demonstrates bigotry and hatred makes money? Help me.
You what now?
I'm just trying to find out who's out there that I know that demonstrates bigotry and hatred, which is prejudice, make money.
It makes money?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very simple. Politicians. Big time.
I was thinking politicians as well.
Right off the top of the hill.
This two-party system that we have, where they play act that they hate each other. Some of them do hate each other, but most of the time, behind closed doors, they're all best friends. Because they're all making a dime off of the backs of American people.
Showing bigotry and hate, and even in that scenario, doesn't help help one.
Well, no, I think we need to stop distinguishing between what the color of our skin is.
Right.
We need to start seeing you're an American, I'm an American.
And unless you have policy written down in the book saying, if you say this is what it's going to cost you, or you're going to do this, that.
There's no money in it, though.
No. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Okay.
It's an entity that's sitting there. You got me? Someone introduced it, right? You got me? It even goes back to day one, even when the fathers were putting that piece together. You know what I mean? There was the North and the South, you know what I'm saying? But they kept that element in there at the table when they had that discussion. And then Lincoln came up there basically and said, okay, fine, let's put it back under one deal.
The abolishment of slavery should have just ended racism right then and there.
What?
But people, it hasn't for some reason.
With all due respect, it was that tobacco and cotton during that particular time.
People have, I majored in history.
Okay.
And one of the things that I've learned in reading the history book is that everyone was doing the writing of the Constitution. It wasn't about the individual so much as it was about the area in which they lived. I.e., when they said slaves will only count as 3/5 of a human, there was a reason for that. And the reason was not because they wanted to make us 3/5 of a human. It was because they didn't want the South to have more votes than the North. So the compromise was you can't take all those slaves that you have down there and use them in your count. We're gonna have to cut some of that count off.
Yeah,
but most Americans today don't know that. They look at it as something totally different.
Yeah, but the definition of
it wasn't bigotry and hatred about that. It was politics.
And money.
That's right.
See, the bottom line is that, no due respect,
power.
Is that money
and power.
Because the bottom line is that, look at, the economy during that particular day was cotton down south. And the people up north were saying, look, I've got machinery, they blah, blah, blah.
No, they didn't have machines back then. They had to pay people to do it. And the South had free labor. And so in free labor, the North said, wait a minute, no. You got to free those people, and you got to pay them. And the South said, no, you can't tell us what to do. And say, well, we're going to war.
It's the same things in a crude way. My point is that that's what that represented. That was the machine.
It's always about money.
It's
Welcome
always
to
about that
capitalism.
money.
I think capitalism can be used for good. It's a good thing. So I think capitalism, can benefit a lot of people.
It'll work itself out. Because people are still getting paid.
But it's the problem with these big corporations. That's the problem with
capitalism. But they're still people. It's not just an individual. See, most people say corporation, but they're still people. You got me? There's always a president, the chairman of the board, named people, they're board members.
Court ruling.
The Supreme Court
Citizens United, they decided corporations are people.
They're people. Like I said, I feel very comfortable from the standpoint of when they make the statement of this country that it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it's flexible. It plays around. It plays around power and money. You got me? And that's what it is. That's what we're doing today. It's going to solve itself. Somebody's going to get paid.
We need some new leaders who aren't so invested in the power and money aspect.
Well, we have...
Who aren't swayed by that.
Once you fall into that cesspool, and the majority of the people are getting paid, what do you want to do? get paid.
No, but my point is that
And
I think we've gotten down to the point now that in many ways that people are saying, well, look, I just want to go in that cesspool and get paid. No, things have changed. I mean, it's changed. It's changed a bit from the standpoint. Well, more people are getting paid now than they were over there. See, I mean,
okay.
you see where I'm coming from? As time goes, but people are still getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, they start off with 5, then 10, then you see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And now today, you know, people.
I'll sell my vote for you.
Well, but
for
still,
this much money.
You know, people going to school. You know what I mean? And not necessarily. Now it's getting to the point now that it's not about just getting the degree. You know, if you can invent something, you got folks that can write that stuff up, and you can get into that other level. You can buy a lottery ticket and become a millionaire overnight if you win. The odds are high, but it's still it's there, right?
The truth of the matter is, in today's political arena, you get paid for selling your vote, plain and simple. Vote if a lobbyist can get them in your office and tell you what's going on, they can find a way to pay you for doing that.
But people,
and you become a millionaire.
Well, I'm all for the abolishing of lobbying. I don't think it's very helpful to the political system. It just puts money in the politicians' pockets. The politicians should be listening to the people and not listening to the lobbyists. But that would require major overhauls to the system.
I think we're spending more time, and even if we start here, look at how we're chatting about this issue. There was not a forum like this before. You got me?
Right.
And so consequently, I think that when they made that point about the preamble of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, we were never allowed to be that. And I'm saying that now we are, to a certain degree. We are. We're doing that. We're asking. That's why we're talking about this thing right now. And that's why I'm saying that, you know, and that's why I'm saying I'm bringing Earl's name in. I'm not trying to be anti him. I'm just saying that's the way the system was. But since now he's got his monies, he didn't need the money.
He's free.
He's free. So consequently, but at the same time, he was the entity that started the drugs. And I'm just using it just because that's the way it was. And because you ask the question, when we have a problem, who signed the bill? We never asked who signed the bill. Somebody had to sign that bill. One person. Then you got 2 or 3. You got to get other voters and that. And each one of those entities saying, what do I get out of the deal? And then if it passes, then those people got that piece. And I'm just saying that worked. So let's use the same system. I mean, the people who get elected to office are employees of ours, and we should never forget that. Now we need to really basically say, let's go to work.
That's and we need to start reminding them of that.
Well, that's why you're going to call him up and talk with him and get him on the show.
Well, he's not an employee of anyone, but
he's now part of the university.
Right. Which again, too, is your buck. Mm-hmm. It's the voters' buck. It's the residents' buck. So let's deal with this drug thing. Yeah. No problem. Okay, we got about 10 minutes, about 10 seconds now or so. But it's been great, fantastic. I guess I'll see you guys on the next round.
Yeah.
For the next series aspect of it. We're gonna talk a little bit about that piece. So okay, folks, you got it. Now you can basically get in touch with your neighbors, and you guys have a round discussion, and maybe share with them about what we've done here, and if you want to play the deal out or whatever. And then have those discussions so we can start making change.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Talk about it. Don't fight about it.
That's right.
Yes.
Sounds good, folks. All right, good. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.